Well, good evening, fellow explorers and explorettes. Welcome to the non-gaslighting but full of ether exploring the Matrix
Very nice.
with my lovely co-host, Miss Jennifer Eason. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, I'm in scrubs today. I just wanted you to know if you were wondering, what is she back in the nursing profession? No, I'm pretending to be a nurse today. Fully scrubs, the whole thing. All day, actually, John.
Did the cat make you do it?
I know, I feel like I'm playing dress up. Like this is a world that I don't remember. It feels like it's been a long time.
I'll tell you, man. If you haven't seen it, Jennifer's been on fire this week. I'll tell you, she's like boom, 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 one show after another.
Oh god.
Then she started. What was it? The 13th Amendment, was that the one that kind of started it?
Right.
She started reading some educational site version of the 13th Amendment, and which is good because it made for a lot of content. You know, it was like really.
It did. I had no idea. It was like a wind-up doll. You know, I just went and I as I was reading though, it didn't seem like right, but I had already committed to it. I said, okay, it can't be.
It didn't sound formal enough or legalese enough or whatever.
It sounded kind of social justice-ish, especially when they
Right.
talked about, they kept changing African American, Negroes, blacks, and it was all over the place. So that's when red flags were going off for me. But I said, well, what am I going to do? I'm halfway through this crazy thing. So
I tried to help you out. I tried to send you a link, but I guess apparently didn't show up in time. But
it didn't. I don't see the chat, like I don't see it as much because I get into who said it? I almost black out when I'm talking. Somebody told me. I said that's a good way to describe it. I think I might.
A lot of people passing blunts around in the chat, Mister. I'll tell you. Some people had to go sit in the back of the class.
Yeah, I was like, what must my church friends of old think? Like, I'm just saying, if they're looking at this and all the pastor friends of mine, and, you know, they're probably like, wow, wowzers, you know. But then now with the age of the apocalypse, they have no authority to judge anyone at this point, because I could just sit back and say, is that so? Well, why did you close your church in 2020? I mean, it's like they lost their position of authority now to judge. We heard these days were going to be upon us. I mean, Jesus would hang out with people that they look down on. That's
Saul, who became Paul, was a murderer. You know, so hey, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
And just so you know, Sarah, that's how she wears her hair on her own shows. Just kidding. We're casual around here. That's why I got the 5 o'clock shadow going on.
Not bad.
Speaking of Sarah, since you're here, that's a great segue because Sarah sent me something last week.
Oh, cool.
And since you talked about the 13th Amendment and the emancipation of the slaves, and I've got something that she sent that was about Lincoln. Okay. And I never knew this. So Sarah, thank you for sending this. Learn something new every day. It ties in with what we've been talking about.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to read the next one. Abraham Lincoln mentioning giants in a letter he wrote after seeing Niagara Falls. So here is the letter.
Wow.
This is from the Library of Congress, of all places. So you know it's legit. So image 1 of Abraham Lincoln Papers, Series 1, General Correspondence, 1833-1916, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, okay, towards the bottom. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read this one paragraph. But still there is more. It calls up Can everybody hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. It calls up the indefinite part. When Columbus first sought this continent, when Christ suffered on the cross, when Moses led Israel through the Red Sea, nay, even when Adam first came from the hand of his maker. Then as now, Niagara was roaring here, the eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. I never saw that before. The eyes of he doesn't like say like giants of industry or giants of whatever. He actually says the eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America.
Oh, that's deep.
This is straight out of the Library of Congress.
Wow, Sarah, what a good find.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like I said, the Library of Congress could be an awesome resource.
Oh, yeah.
I also, just FYI, there won't be a lot of hemming and hawing and digging around looking for memes. I've got them all in one folder today. I went through and pre-picked some and just stuck them in a folder. So just so you guys know,
Nice.
that's a possibility coming down the road. Jennifer's got to get her chuckle snort on today. So I did not include the twerking one because I know how much against that she is.
I beg you, plead with you not.
Even though there was a lot of good AOC ones that came out about that.
I have managed to not see that. Can you imagine this? I have managed to not see it. I have to push through, and once I get through a few more days, then
oh, you'll get it when you're least expecting. That's all I got to say.
I'm hoping it doesn't
you think you're safe. Then it'll show up with the creepy baby and some other ones.
I'm dodging it like dodgeball right now.
And you're doing a good job.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge anything.
For those of you that haven't seen Dodgeball, it's not an Academy Award-winning film, but it is a good, just if you want a good laugh for an hour and a half or whatever, it is a funny movie. It's just so off the wall that it's memorable. All the lines in it are memorable, and it's Dodgeball. Come on, it's Dodgeball. So
okay,
maybe we'll have a watch party one night, and we'll do like Dodgeball or something, or Zoolander or something like that. One of those.
Oh, that would be. It's a great idea. Or Idiocracy.
Actually, that's a good one too.
That is a documentary at this point.
Speaking of Idiocracy, you know how Jennifer and I are always talking about the Great Fires and all this stuff that happened, late 1800s, early 1900s. I saw this again on the Tartaria channel about San Francisco, and I never thought about this. So the text is, so let's get this story straight as the mainstream historian seemingly can't. A massive earthquake occurred in 1906 in San Francisco, which magically demolished most of the city's buildings into their own footprint. And I'll talk about that in a second. The street lamps and trees are left unscathed and nothing spilling over into the streets. Christchurch earthquake was a magnitude 7.1, while San Francisco earthquake was an estimated magnitude 7.9. Here is a picture of Christchurch after the earthquake. Mostly everything's still managing to stay up. Now compared them and see the obvious truth. This is like the picture on the right is the more modern one that they're talking about with bigger buildings. Mm-hmm. But back in 1906, here, let me see if I have another picture.
Wow. This is amazing now. Wow.
You can see, like, as it states, there's no rubble in the streets or anything, and everything managed to collapse where it was sitting. Hey, Casey. Wow. So, and this big Tartarian Capitol building thing over here is still there, but and then you got all the trees and everything. It's just, wow. I'm not an earthquake scientist or a biologist or whatever, since people are passing the buck on knowledge and stuff, but I have to say that's a clean looking earthquake.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
very clean, very precise and surgical.
It's almost like it's ready for the next set of buildings.
Yeah. This is really, looking at things now from where we are along this timeline of the things we've been discovering, looking at these images, it just tells so much more. When I knew nothing of this mud flood stuff, I would have looked at this and seen nothing but, oh, it's an old picture. I mean, it would not have resonated what I am seeing. And
Mhm.
this is a powerful thing for me right now. It just
Yeah, I would have
put
back in
words.
the day. I would have looked at this picture and just, yeah, that's an old picture, and just kind of, I wouldn't have thought twice about it,
Right.
and but it's interesting. It's just really,
It's
and
AKC.
speaking of buildings, I ran across this too.
Hmm.
A 9-meter high Buddha statue has been discovered in a residential complex in Chongqing, China. That sounds like a Chinese city.
That's
Chongqing, China.
amazing.
We are living on the scattered remains of our past. What do you think? And here's a bigger.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's so amazing.
We
Oh,
always show these pictures of stuff being built on top of something else, and like
yeah.
old railways being built on, or new railways being, or new transportation being built on old transportation, new buildings being built on top of old buildings, and that kind of thing. I just thought this
I
was
have
kind
to
of
tell you,
interesting.
I'm surprised, and hear me out on this. I'm surprised to see this such a display in China. And the reason why is that I've always understood the Chinese culture to be one of reverence for history and their elderly.
Mhm.
And when I look at this, it's telling me like that's not the case. Like in this particular city, that they're not respecting their history by building apartment homes around this. Like that's strange to me that it would be in China. I would expect that here in America. I would expect that,
Right.
you know.
Plow it down and build something over top of it.
Yeah, but I don't expect that in what they have termed more ancient civilizations, right?
Yeah, because that had to be pretty old. And just on a side note, what is with these cages on the windows or the apartments or whatever?
That's
It's just like,
common. Yeah, that's common. When I travel to Asia, the Middle East, that's how a lot of apartments are. They look just like that. And when you go to
really?
the real, like when you go to the real, where the real people live, because you see such a disparity of poor and,
Mhm.
rich. So you don't see middle class usually. You just see very,
Hmm.
very poor, like conditions like this, or you see the tourist area that they only want you to see Disneyland and
Right.
all the nice stuff. We keep these people hidden on that part of the city, So I have seen this part of the city. When I go traveling, I want to see where the real people live and how they live. And I'm going to tell you, this is very common. This looks like Cairo, Egypt,
Hmm.
many cities in China. I'm just telling you.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's weird to me that you have the mindset that you would need like this kind of cagey thing. I mean, is it because of crime? Is it because birds
Yeah.
are suiciding themselves in these apartments and they need something to stop them from flying in? Or
Well, it's
uh,
partially like if you see how they cheaply throw these kind of tenement apartments up, they
mhm,
don't build them to have sturdy balconies. So this is it's
uh,
kind of like you're caged in, like because in China they also have suicide nets at the factories because the people
Jeez.
there, it's so oppressive for some people in China that they literally are trying to jump out of the windows when they're at work.
But we're not going to let you. You're going to
They,
come back to work tomorrow.
yeah, no, you know what happens? Literally, you can look this up. They'll have stories where somebody just couldn't take it anymore and they jumped and the suicide net caught them and they put them right back on the factory floor. You know, you're not going to be able to take a day off and just, I need a mental health day. You know, I'm having a bad day. That's not how it goes, okay? And you start to see how inhumane it is more in your face. They're doing that stuff here too, but they hide it. You know, we have more of a loser, what is it? Illusory. We hide the fact that we have human rights abuses too.
Yeah, it's funny because the building next to it looks like it has glass windows and everything and like normal balconies.
Yeah. Isn't that something? It's so sad, everybody, how people live in these other countries. They're jumbled up and, you know, they're hanging their laundry and they don't have conveniences like a washer and dryer. Everything is just hard. You know, they have to carry things and ride on motorcycles. I saw the whole entire family's on a motorcycle. The dad, mom, they got the baby on the front, you know, then they got another baby. It's stuff that you have never seen. They have adapted to what these bankers have done to these countries to destroy them. They have adapted to being poor.
That's a shame that you have to adapt to being poor, and it's usually a good indication, like what you stated, that if there seems to be a missing middle class, that country's probably in that position where it's just the extremely poor and then the people that have everything else. And so that's
what you learn when you travel. You know, a lot of people, they think like, wow, you know, you've seen a lot. I have, and I do feel world weary sometimes because when I travel and when I come back, I recede and I become more hermited and you know, I become more of a recluse because of all the travels, because it just makes you become more introspective, if you can understand. Sometimes I've gone to countries and it depends on the amount of time I spend there. But when I come back and then I look at all that, we have pet supermarkets, we have 2 pets, you got 2 Starbucks, like I just become so. And then when you go to the supermarket, it's like, how many Pop-Tarts can you have? Oh, chicken and rice Pop-Tart, this Pop-Tart. And it becomes now, it is so disgusting to me. It seems so perverse now how they're mixing. You have potato chips that have a million different flavors. Oh, we have Tutti Frutti potato chips. We have cookies and cream potato chips. And when I look at that kind of stuff, it makes me, I'm always at a low boil. Always. I don't know if it's been because of traveling and living in other countries. I'm always at a low boil in this culture. I feel like I could always go off and be that, like, you know, like tick, tick, boom.
Yeah, you did that, what, last night or the night before?
Yeah.
Just so you know, Jennifer just laid the smackdown on the system. Let's just put it that way. And she didn't damn be the channel. Basically, I even typed in something to the effect of, I guess I better start working on your backup channel or something like that.
Please, everybody work on a backup channel for you. But you know what? I have had a conversation with the father, and you know what? I can't put the brakes on it. He let me take my training wheels off, and like I'm supposed to just let my hair down a little more. Okay. So,
but what you said was to the point, though. I mean, it wasn't like it was not appropriate. And if you haven't seen it, it was 2 videos ago. I think it was the 14th Amendment one?
I forget. I've been like, somebody told me they think I black out when I go into my rant and stuff, and so I don't remember a lot of it.
Well, like in Hollywood, like when you if you ever seen a movie where it's usually like a John Cusack movie or something where somebody is with a girl they want to be or an ex-girlfriend that they still like or whatever, and in their head, but they show it on the screen, they don't let you know it's in their head, but they're like jumping over the counter and beating him with a pan or, you know, shooting him with a shotgun or whatever. And then they flash back to reality and they just have a blank stare in their face, you know. So like it's like
that's great.
You're losing that line.
Yeah, no, that explains a lot because I have played things out. I don't know if you all are as weird as I am, but I usually keep a low, even keel. That's how I like to keep it low and real harmonious. But it takes a lot to get me to the high boil. Like, you know, I kind of stay at a low boil, simmer, just not even simmer, just a low. And the more I find out about the system, it turns up a little bit more, just a tad, you know. But yeah, I have learned to play it out in a movie form, and that's probably not healthy. Like, you know, I've gone to the supermarket because the supermarket makes me want to go completely off the rails because I read the labels and that's what makes me mad. That triggers me. So I'm reading, and then when I see all the canola oil and everything, all the high fructose corn syrup.
There is a lot of canola oil and stuff. I was and palm oil. I was amazed at how many things have canola and palm oil in them.
Yeah, and I'm like so angry. And I was going to get bread one day. Bread, okay, John. Why can't the bread just have 4 ingredients like flour, water? No, it has. You need a chemistry degree to read the bread ingredients, and that's not good. Everyone, you already know this. I'm singing to the choir, but it's not good. And I've seen the effects of it being a nurse. I've seen people's health really deteriorate. Our health in this nation was not like it is now. People would have, mishaps and go to the hospital, but it wasn't on the level of the chronic disease that I started seeing become normalized. You know, so I go to the supermarket and it's just darker and darker, as bright as it is in there. It's just a dark place. Yeah, there you are. I used to call on a doctor when I was a pharmaceutical rep, and he would smoke in his, office. That's how the doctors used to do. They would smoke as they were doing your exam, just have their cigarettes dangling from their mouth. But but John, it's like this system. When I go, for instance, and look at the bread aisle, because I started making a lot of my own bread, but it has all of this sugar, high fructose corn syrup. One day I played out in my head. I've told you guys this. I had a movie in my head that I took all the bread and I threw it all on the floor and I started stomping it, like just throwing it all up in the air and screaming and reeing. And it really felt like I did it. That's how my imagination is. I just stopped and I imagined me doing that. But it was a very thin veil of me really doing it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Julie and I were just talking about that a couple days ago or today when my days have blended together. Okay. But we were talking, that's why I actually have the DNA strand behind me today, because we were talking about the thing that makes, blood types different and the possibility of different things affecting people differently because of their blood type. And then I came across this frequency thing today. I thought was amazing. That'll have to be another show, but because it's long, it's like 50 minutes long. But yeah, and I've seen Sarah go off on people. She is in the nutrition field, and I've seen her go off on people and other platforms, not here.
Yeah, good for you, Sarah. I like the way that sounds. Okay, a gal left with a heart.
Karen,
how
you doing?
Hey.
I would say blunts up, but that's a different chat. But Lady Knievel, I'm interested in this doppelganger thing you're talking about here. What's going on? What's going on with that?
Ringer.
This is Johnny. I found your doppelganger Friday and saw him again today. Dead ringer, just a little grayer, same style goatee and everything. Maybe double take.
Oh my.
Interesting.
That is interesting. You know what? Now that you're saying that, Lady Knievel, I saw a picture from the 1800s of somebody that looks like you. Looks like John in the 1800s.
What?
Yes. But I see so many pictures. I now have to fit because I stopped ordering my pictures. I got to do better. Okay. But mine are just, I need to, if somebody is good at that, boy, that would be so nice. But anyway, that's a dream. So I have had so many 1800s. You can only imagine, John. But I swear to you, I was looking and I was like, why does this person look familiar? And it dawned on me. I was like, this could be John just dressed up in the attire of that time. This could be like you.
I got in my time machine, went back, took a picture, came back.
Maybe you were doing that. You learned how to do
this. He works at a chicken feed mill.
Oh, really? Wow.
The only reason I'm laughing is because Julie always says I have chicken legs.
That's funny. Oh, wow.
So chicken feed mill, chicken legs, whatever. So, and Sarah says, watch Nino Rodriguez interview on Frequency with Dr. Laura Sanger and Jesse from a couple weeks ago. You would love the Frequency talk and how it affects behavior. Yeah, this thing I saw, I don't remember where I filed it, but this guy was amazing. I mean, everything, and because he talks about the Jesus and the 12 apostles and a bunch of other things, and it just totally made sense. So yes, I will have to check that out. That's weird. Maybe we should do a show on doppelgangers. That's got me thinking now. I wonder if Jen's got a doppelganger somewhere.
Oh, speaking of which, I have now, are you ready for it has to be a crazy story, but I have had people tell me from other races that I look like someone in their family. Now, that's the weirdest thing. I'll tell you when it happened the first time. I was, waiting tables in college, and I was in Atlanta. This man from Texas, he was like a real Texan. He had like the look of what you would imagine. Real nice man. He was a rancher, and he was so nice to me, but he kept saying, you know what? You look like a black version of my daughter. And I was like, what? What? Like, what kind of thing is that to say? But he said, I'm telling you, you really do. I can't explain it. He said, you just remind me of her, but just in a black person's body. So I was like, now that's interesting. And I had somebody come, it was like somebody at a job that I had, an office job. She came by. She was like the cleaning staff, the evening cleaning staff, and I was there late, and she kept looking at me, and then, we talked and stuff, and she then started crying. I didn't know why, and she said I looked just like her sister who had died. And I was like, oh boy, this is getting weird. And then this happened. I worked for the Gap when I was one summer season.
Of course you did. Of course you did. The good old Gap.
The good old Gap, remember? So I'm working at the Gap in Fashion Valley Mall in San Diego, California. Okay, so I'm doing my little thing, folding. I have to learn how to fold everything. So it was all these little characters that would
until somebody like me came in and messed them all up.
Messed them up. I was so mad when you guys would do that. So we had to always fold everything. It had to stay perfect. Okay. So that's probably turning people so OCD. But this guy came in, he was from Pakistan, and he was just staring at me, and I'm like, what is going on, this weird dude? And you know what he told me? He said, you look, in an accent, he said, you look just like my cousin in Pakistan. I was like, oh God.
Jeez.
What the heck, everybody?
Did you ask him which reset that was from?
Oh, that's a good. Now you threw a nice little. Oh, good one, John. Now you're gonna have me like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
I'll see. I wouldn't have thought of that then, but now I would ask the question like, which reset are you referring to?
That is now. See, that's how this has gotten levels of deep now. That. Wow, John. Wow. What timeline are we talking, right?
Their biosecurity protocol at the mill is hilarious. Was joking with the guy about it. I'll see him again tomorrow delivering corn for the clucks.
Nice. Lady Knievel.
Corn for the clucks. There you go.
Corn for the clucks. So that's cute.
I saw this. I keep running across interesting pictures. And speaking of which, if you find that picture again of the dude that supposedly looks like me, send it to me.
Yeah. It's going to have to be one of those things where you stumble on it again, because I need to put names in folders. So it'll happen.
But I keep stumbling across all these oddities, these weird pictures, and stumbled across this one. This is, I think, Dagestan, I think is the name of the place. This is supposedly like a 200-year-old bridge that's made without any nails or anything like that.
Oh my.
And it's like I keep stumbling across stuff like this, and it's like,
that's so amazing.
That's cool. I mean,
yeah. Look, I mean, the
kind of looks sketchy over here, but
a little, I mean, but the engineering that it takes to do this.
Well, yeah, just the forethought to be able to build a bridge across something and not use any nails, and just kind of
real.
So that's
amazing. Wow.
Let's see. Sarah says, what does Sarah say? I just sent you the frequency video and tell her. Oh yeah, that's right. That's where I saw it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Tell her.
So hold on. Let me. I was kind of thinking, where did I see it? Because I took my little hacker program and downloaded the video from YouTube instead of just following the link. You put the link in this program and it downloads the video, and you can just save it on your computer.
Yeah, I like that. Because I learned how to do that too. I was like, yay. I had learned it and then forgotten it and used a different one this time when I did it.
Where is it here? Hold on. Because at least I'll find the title. Sorry, Sarah. That's one thing about Telegram. It's like, what's it? Go here.
I'm just looking for Josie.
Oh no, she sent the one with Nino.
Oh,
that's what it was.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Never mind. False alarm.
Oh.
So let's see. Since we were on the subject of giants again, we always seem to come back to the subject of giants, which I don't care because dang it. Giants existed. I just know it in my heart that they existed. There's enough evidence to show that they did.
What happened?
Oops. I'm going to play this little TikTok video.
Okay.
Not that I usually use the Chinese spyware app, but I found this somewhere. And that just happens to be the format.
Oh, wow.
So, okay. I don't know if the volume's going to be good. Let's see here. Okay, should be good.
What happened with all the giants? Early 1900s, the New York Times, London Globe, and Scientific American published articles reporting the discovery of gigantic human skeletons, concluding that the remains were sent to the Smithsonian for further study. This evidence was never seen again or reported on, which raises the question, are they covering up a part of our lost history? What happened to the remains? And while physical evidence remains absent, there is a large trail of written and anecdotal suggestion that a larger race of humans once walked the earth. Follow the Conspiracy Times for more.
Wow.
I don't know about some of those. Those look a little sketchy, a couple of them, but
it's amazing.
But it leads into something else that I was going to talk about here. We're going to go back to Nazca. We've talked about Nazca briefly in Peru and down south of here. I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, but this is how I'm going to pronounce it. Cahauchi, Hoochie Coochie, Cahauchi.
Sounds good to me.
Is an archaeological site believed to have been a pilgrimage site of the Nazca people, which is dominated by several adobe pyramids made of sand and clay. I never heard of that before. The Nazca people are still very mysterious, but were clearly advanced at one time. No written records can be found from the Nazca people, but many giant skeletons are found in this area. Just like the last post, why are the giants, where people, you're screwing me up. Were they giants too? You decide. So I always found this interesting. I never saw these pyramids before, and I didn't realize they existed in Nazca, Peru.
Yep.
That's kind of cool. I mean,
they have the like that. They have more of the Nazca stuff that I believe might be in Mexico, where they built some pueblos in the rocks. It's really amazing.
Yes. And Karen, because you're at the back of the class because you came late, we already talked about Abraham Lincoln and the giants.
And I think he wasn't extremely tall. I thought he was really tall, but I just saw some pictures of him. He was tall, but not as tall as I thought.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't like a massive giant or anything. He was
compared to
these are cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're amazing.
I've never seen a pyramid like that before, but
wow.
For those that know Nazca or know anything about Nazca, that's where you have the mountaintops that look like they're artificially flattened because they're like perfectly flat, and it looks like they have runways on top of them, and along the sides of some of the hills, and going through there, you've got all these big depictions of like a monkey and all these other animals that from the ground you would never know what they are, but from the air, from an airplane, you can clearly see what they are. So I always found like the Nazca culture, in addition to the Aztec and the Mayan culture, I wish more people would do more work on that, because I think they were interesting, because that's where they find a lot of these elongated skulls. And I like, it seems like a lot of ancient cultures, including in India, they depict a lot of their gods or their, these super intelligent beings, whatever you want to call them. They always depict them with blue skin, or they seem to depict a lot of them with blue skin.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting.
I just find that kind of interesting.
Yes.
See, sure. Yes, Trey Smith did a few videos, Sarah, on these.
Oh,
you have to get past Trey's idiosyncrasies to watch the videos, but
oh, really? Okay.
He does good work. I mean, he ties everything.
Yeah.
Biblically, so
nice. I like when people have idiosyncrasies. I'm able to still watch content that other people might find either repetitive or annoying in some way, but for me it'll be fabulous. Have you noticed that? Like, I don't know, it might be because I'm really odd also.
I can do it now. I couldn't before. I'd have to watch something 2 times or whatever to get the gist of what I was trying to get out of it. Now I can just watch them and like, oh, that's just his style, or that's
you chalk it up to, because you're not worried about the messenger so much. Because I listened to a guy who he repeats, it's his thing. He says, press 1, He says it all through, like, press one, and people put a one
Press
in the
one.
chat. Press one, and he says it all the like. He goes through periods where he doesn't say it, but I absolutely love, like, he's been helping me to understand, like, put some real connections together. So for me, what I'm saying is, like, that doesn't bother me, but I saw people like make a video about how they hate that he says press one all the time. It's like, and I love it.
Yeah, lady, they might be Smurfs.
They might be. Hey, that's a thought. Where did they get the concept of Smurfs? You know, it's like all that entertainment is alluding to real things. Like, that's how they've been telling us the truth to decode.
Yes, and this one is up Jennifer's alley.
Uh-oh.
This is not something I normally would pay attention to, but you've done a lot of videos on like fashion and styles, especially like pre-20th century, you know, kind of thing. And I saw this, I'm like, oh boy, I'm surprised she hasn't seen these, or maybe she has.
Let's see. Oh, yes.
Chopines are platform shoes that were worn by women in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries.
Oh my God.
And when I saw this picture,
that's amazing. Wow. Can you
imagine?
Like, that's so
Gene
cool.
Simmons must have went back in time and like introduced these things to these people.
Is that crazy? Like, look at all the way they.
Look where your feet go. Your feet go way up here. How would you even walk in those?
Yeah, well, that's how stuff is. It gets that way with modern shoes. They're pretty crazy. But this is such a, you know what, it lets you know that whatever the civilization, they had reached the collapse because they had turned to the absurd.
Yes.
You know? It's from having too much, you know?
Right.
A decadent.
Yeah, instead of moving forward their intellectual capacity or their advancing society, they're all just bored and they're just sitting around. I just see like that movie Friday or whatever, or Half Baked, but they're just sitting around on the porch and they're like trying to think of stuff to do. It's hot, it's muggy or whatever, and it's like, I wonder what if we had I got it. What if we had shoes that were ridiculous that you couldn't walk on, you'd break your neck in? Wow. We can get our mom to wear it or our cousin to wear it or something like that. And we could, well, now they would video it, they'd TikTok it or whatever, you know, like the tall ass shoe challenge or whatever they would call it, you know. And that's crazy to me when I saw that.
No, but you know what you bring up is a deeper decode that I can see, you know, thinking about the decadence that civilizations, when they're at a collapsing point, I want to bring this point up, is they turn to, like you said, they're bored, so they have to top the next thing. And when people are bored, they're not going to make good decisions in boredom. And I see now how our elite, you know, people group in our society, the rich, the ones with trust funds and silver spoons in their noses, the ones that are political elite, Hollywood elite, or just blue blood royals, all this stuff, rich people in general, they become bored when they have no struggle when it comes to, you know,
because the peasants aren't keeping them entertained and they can't entertain themselves.
Exactly. And they resort to decadence because you went to
I think they have stupid wigs.
Yeah, and then you went to this 5-star restaurant. Now you have to do another 6-star restaurant, and then it's never enough. And then they become really degraded in their sexuality too, and they begin to dabble in deeper depravity, and it has to be done the next time higher. So this is showing me that they were at the same point that we're at in our civilization, in terms of the ones, because these shoes, if you have the power and arm of the media, you can make these shoes something that people would kill each other to have. You can
Right.
narratives, and Madison Avenue could come up with all of the psychological advertisements, and these shoes, they can make it seem like it's only a few that were made, a scarcity, and they could do like
Right.
the Apple. Remember the Apple stores
Oh,
when
yes.
people were
Yep.
waiting? They were camped out in New York City with tents, okay? And for the next Apple version. So if you have the power of media, you could make this right here be just like that. Do you understand how devious?
Oh, yeah.
This
That
is
is-
so deep to me. I'm glad you showed me this, because it's showing me that this is from decadence and moral depravity and collapse.
And that you're totally on point. That's a very good perception of this, because when I see it, I think that same thing. And I also think too, it's like, because and I'm such a practical person, I always think there's no practical use for these. So the only other explanation or logical use would be to show off, or to have some kind of status, or like you said, like people would be lined up around the blocks because they only made like 10 pairs of those or something, and only the elite women of certain families would have them, or whatever. They're even like aerodynamic. They look like the keels of ships, like just like you could walk along the beach and not get wet. You can walk.
They are constructed. And I've looked at high heels, like, I'm really into fashion, and I've looked at shoes. I used to have a book, a coffee table book. I don't know where it is now, but it was the history of shoes, because they have a shoe museum in Toronto. An actual shoe museum. Can you imagine that? So I've looked and studied a lot of this fashion stuff. And, you remember the big, like you brought up, who was it? Elton John. And he came out with this. Remember Elton John? He would do Benny and the Jets, and he would come out with some, and you had Kiss had heels. And
between him and Gene Simmons, they were trying to outdo each other with them platform shoes.
Yeah, so this is nothing new, but this is made in a way, the construction is of a way that you could see that this is like a tank or something.
I mean, to me, it almost, I don't know what they're made of. I would imagine the top would be leather, because it looks like the heel or the inserts are leather. Yeah. So I don't know if this is some kind of, stiffened leather, or, because I can't imagine that it would be metal or anything like that, even though it looks like the hull of a ship, it makes me think it's metal.
When you said that, I instantly, that's why I'm saying, whoa, when you said that to me looks like steel.
and that whole, the idea of, for lack of a better term, high society, right. Settle down, Karen, settle down. Where
right. I can't either.
It's like each of the families are trying to outdo each other with the craziness. Yeah. It's like they go to this big bash at such and such count's castle or whatever, and then a month later they're going down the road to the other duchess, blah blah blah, and everybody's anticipating what are they going to do to top the last party at the other place, kind of thing. Exactly. And that's all they live for. That's all they live for, is the status and the craziness and the debauchery and
and they keep it within a certain. Imagine this: they are insulated from the real world, and what we call the real world, and they stay among themselves. They date in a small pool, and they date their cousins. So you're saying we'll be extinct because of shoes? That's some crazy Imelda Marcos theory. No, I'm just saying that it shows me.
Death by shoes.
Yeah, it shows me where a civilization who would come up with this. It just shows me a lot. I read a lot into this, and
You should do a coffee table book about shoes and about where you think a culture was at based on their shoes.
I don't know.
That would be cool.
It might be cool. There, you know what? Look at what Casey wrote, though. I want you to see. She said bone.
Bone.
That's deep, Casey. That really could be.
Maybe that's where the giant remains went.
Yeah,
they start making shoes out of them, or coats and other stuff.
Exactly. That's crazy. And that those shoes, it just like, yeah, it's so, from Austin Powers. Yes. Yeah. Or remember Pee-wee's? I used to watch Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't he have real high shoes on?
Yes. Oh my, good old Pee-wee. Figuratively and literally, but
he ruined his whole career, didn't he? He hasn't been seen since, has he?
Well, he was in a movie. Did you ever see the movie Mystery Men?
No.
Oh my God, that is such a funny movie. It's like an anti-superhero kind of movie.
Oh, okay.
Where there's like a legit superhero in this city. I can't remember the name of the city, but of course it's got Ben Stiller in it and a bunch of other people. And so there's like a legit superhero in the city, and he ends up getting captured. And these guys, including Ben Stiller and hold on, I'm going to pull. You have to see them. You have to see them.
I used to really love all of those guys in movies. I enjoy,
their names.
The comedies. They used to be funny, but now they all went woke. And when did they go woke? It was Colin Kaepernick started it off, didn't he?
Yeah, like Hank Azaria and those guys.
They were funny at one time, but now it's like,
So you see, like, here's Pee-wee right here.
That's Pee-wee. That's Paul. What's his name? Herman.
I'm pretty sure it is. He plays a character called the Spleen.
What?
And his superpower is being able to direct his farts at people.
No,
like that's his.
Can you enlarge that? I can't make his face out. I can't believe that's him. As an older guy, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Hold on.
Okay.
Of course, they're not going to show a bigger picture.
Oh.
Let me do this. I'll just save the image. Hold on. All right. So let us go to downloads.
Oh, okay. Yes, it's always another way around. Oh, wow.
Yes.
I see it now. Look at those shit.
Janine Garofalo or whatever her name is.
Like her. I used to really like her. I haven't seen her in a long time. Wow, they're all in a movie together.
If you like Dodgeball, you'll love this movie because, like I said, it's set in a mythical city that has a superhero, and he ends up getting captured by one of the the bad guys. And these guys are going around, they're like vigilantes. They're like trying to be superheroes, but they literally have no superpowers. Like none of them do. And like this guy, I can't remember the actor's name, but he's called the Shoveler. He literally walks around with like a silver shovel, and that's what he fights with is the shovel. And then you have the Spleen, and then you have Ben Stiller's character who's called Rage. And his superpower is he just gets really mad.
This is funny. Like you describing it is funny.
And then Hank Azaria, he's like the blue Raja or something like that. And he throws forks at people. Like he throws forks. Like instead of knives and stuff like that, he throws forks.
Oh no.
And then this guy in the movie becomes like their mentor or whatever. And the reason I said, because I see his shoes. Remember you were talking about Pee-wee's shoes?
Yeah, those are funny now. Who's the guy in the
just happens to be Pee-wee. He's like, I can't remember his name, but he's like their mentor, like the guy in Dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That's the kind of mentality this guy has.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
So
The guy is funny. I see the one you said has a silver shovel. I remember
yeah,
him. He's always like a weirdo in movies. Yeah, funny kind of weird movies.
this
Who's
this
that?
dude here, he's his superpower through the whole movie. He tells people that he's the invisible boy or something like that, and
No.
so supposedly his super, and he's only invisible when people aren't looking.
Okay. And that's his superpower. What's
Yes.
her? She's one
And
of them.
Janine Garofalo is the only one that has sort of an actual superpower because she's called the bowler. In this bag here, she has the skull of her father in a bowling ball. It's like a crystal bowling ball.
Oh,
And he was some
no.
kind of like mob boss or something like that. And he got whacked by somebody. So this like ball actually, like, she can throw it and it comes back to her like a boomerang.
Oh my goodness. That's
And she's always
great.
talking to her dad, like she can hear him mentally
No,
or
are
whatever.
you
And she's always talking to him.
serious? Oh, that's wackadoodles. I would have never imagined. Now that's
So
different.
these guys think they're going to go save, I think his name's Captain Wonderful or something. That's the actual superhero.
Wonderful.
And
Your
he's,
explanation, John, is so funny. You are making this.
I love storytelling and I like
This
adding
is
things,
great.
you know.
You could do a movie review like this because you're killing it. Okay, this is, and then showing the picture. You listen. This is.
But you have to see Captain Wonderful. Hold on.
This
Hold
sounds
on.
funny. What year did this come out?
I don't remember. Let's see.
This is
1999.
okay.
Yeah, Greg Kinnear plays Captain Amazing. Sorry, not Captain Wonderful. Captain Amazing. Captain Amazing.
Now, Greg
And he has
Kinnear-
all these sponsors patches and stuff like that all over his suit. Because all these corporations sponsor him and everything.
serious?
It's like,
Oh no, now that's funny commentary. That's kind of like a idiocracy kind of level of, but do you remember how Greg Kinnear, I used to watch him. I loved really wacky kind of programming. And he used to be on something called Talk Soup. You remember Talk
yes,
Soup?
yeah.
He originally was the original host, but I loved him.
I don't know.
That kind of was like the beginning of review kind of, content where
Yes.
he would
Yep.
play clips of all the talk shows and find the craziest. And then he would give his face, the reaction and his commentary. And he would do skits. Remember they would do skits. It was so, didn't they have
Yes.
Spaghetti Cat? I think they had Spaghetti Cat as their skits. He was so funny. What happened? Talk
Well,
Soup.
here's
These people
funny
are not
because
funny anymore. This cabal has sucked the funny out of everything,
yes, I know.
haven't they?
And I don't want to give away the movie if you haven't seen it, but you have to watch it anyway. I mean, long story short, these guys, they want to go save the real superhero because this guy Casanova Frankenstein is the bad guy.
Wait a minute, he's in this movie too. This
Yes.
character. Oh my
Yes,
god,
Casanova Frankenstein.
this is.
He has
funny.
Captain Amazing captured. Like he gets out of prison and then blah blah blah.
I have
'Cause
to
Captain-
you're making me want to
You
watch.
have to watch it.
I
You got
have-
to watch it
I got to watch this. This is
because you have like you have the
good
Disco
app.
Kings. These are some of the other bad guys. The Disco Kings on the other side here. They literally walk around in platform shoes and they dance and that kind of stuff. And
Awesome.
but yes,
Probably become my favorite movie. This sounds amazing.
you would love this movie. I'm telling you, you would
Called
love
one more
this
time.
movie.
What's the name again? It's called
Mystery Men.
Mystery.
Mystery
I haven't
Men.
even heard of it. Doesn't ring a bell. You've seen
That's
it
because
now?
it was like literally went to video. Like it went to the theaters, then like went to video.
I got Those are the best ones. It's a hidden gem, huh, Karen?
That's just,
I gotta watch it. I can tell I'm gonna be busting up
here,
laughing.
I'll type it in the chat. Mystery Men. And I'm not being racist or sexist or anything. It's just that's what it's called. It's called Mystery Men, not
Okay.
mystery binary, whatever. It's Mystery Men.
Birthing people.
Yeah, exactly. Breeders, mystery breeders. I had a gay friend in Florida. I should say that he worked for me. He worked for me, and he used to call people, like straight people, breeders. And that's the first time I ever heard that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard people say it. In when I lived in liberal California, one of my little knitting friends, I didn't know she felt this way, but when I would have conversations about, things, life, she told me that babies, she considers them to be parasites. Babies within the womb. She said they're nothing more than parasites. And she was a scientist. She worked at what is the pharmaceutical company out there? There's a Amgen. Have you ever heard of Amgen Pharmaceuticals?
I've heard the name. It's funny because I think that's where Jurassic Park got their InGen, like, because InGen was their for the DNA, the guys that were creating the dinosaurs.
Well,
so I just have this weird feeling that was loosely based on Amgen.
I bet it was, because Amgen is one of those genetic, they get into the molecules, and really they're doing a lot of advanced pharmaceutical research. But up in Thousand Oaks, that's where Amgen's headquarters is. So, a lot of people, it's almost like working at a place like, the Stepford Wives. So it's like the Amgen people. And they can be really bougie, but
Bougie.
yeah, this reminds me of what you're bringing up. It's amazing how people could be within certain time. It's like a timeline thing, like you were saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that I don't know. This is making me unpack deeper things, what you're bringing up. I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm surprised you don't have your notebook out.
No, I do. I have it out. I'm ready to.
I was being facetious. I was joking.
It just makes me think of that kind of stuff. All those weird things about. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just going on tangents.
Speaking of weird, like Pandora / Avatar, whatever. I kept running across all these weird trees and plants this week too. And this one's called the dragon blood tree, native to Socotra archipelago, part of Yemen. It is so called due to the red sap that trees produce. Dragon blood was used as a source of varnish for 18th century Italian violin makers. That explains why a lot of them looked red. It was also used as toothpaste in the 18th century.
Oh,
interesting.
And you know what? If you put that back, it looks like the placenta. To me, it looks like the tree part up.
Up here, like
a placenta to me. Am I the only one?
I mean, I've never seen a tree like that before.
Yeah,
ever.
but that's what it makes me look. I think placenta. Some trees, the trees here where I am, they look like lungs, like the lungs, the way that they look. So I don't know. To me, it just looks like a placenta, that tree, the top of it.
Casey. My stepdad used to call us juvenile delinquents. Wonder why my mom divorced him.
Oh, no. Well, yeah.
I think a lot of parents from our generation used to call us juvenile delinquents.
That's funny, but that's not as harsh as this scientist from Amgen telling me that babies are parasites. I was
parasites, right?
Whoa. And she had an accent too. It's something about people. She was from England, and she sounded like, very smart, like,
it makes you more true.
Yeah,
like
it makes
more
more
like
true because she sounds like the shows that I grew up watching with all the British,
yes.
narrators. Oh wow.
Another tree I've never seen before this week.
Oh
The Jabuticaba tree. Wow, Jabuticaba from
wow.
South America. The fruit grows directly on the trunk and branches and tastes like blueberry yogurt.
Where can I go get some of this? I am just thinking of all the desserts I could make with this. Are you kidding? I've never seen anything like this in my life. That is so.
At first, when I saw this picture, when I first saw it, I thought, oh my God, it's like a locust swarm or something on this tree. But it turns out it's the Jabuticaba
You
Jabuticaba
really
tree.
find some amazing things. This is, oh my goodness, I've never seen such amazing things. People think that the earth doesn't have enough for people. Like this shows you.
And it's crazy.
It tastes like blueberry yogurt.
According to this.
I want this tree too. Oh, look, Joe Dingle's here. Oh my gosh. Joe, can
Where's
you
he
believe
at?
a tree exists?
Oh, the other. Hey, Joe.
Look at
Hey,
that.
Joe, you want to hop on? You want me to send you a link? Are you able to hop on?
Awesome, Joe. Come on. Come on in. Joe, I have never seen a tree like this. And I'm just thinking, I would make cobblers for you all. Like, do you like pies and
All right,
cobblers?
I'm going to send Joe a link.
Yeah. Come on. Yay, Joe. This is fast. You find the most fascinating things, John.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, I find a lot of the stuff on a lot of these Telegram channels like Tartaria and stuff like that. But it's a lot of it's stuff I have absolutely never in my life seen ever.
Wow. I know this is one of them. I love fruit trees and all that kind of stuff. And that is something that in all of my discovery, I've never seen anything.
Links on the way, Joseph.
Oh, good. It defies what we've known of fruit trees, right? That defies
I've never seen anything like that wasn't like related to the plague or something or some kind of weird, because it looks like boils or, but it's actually fruit.
Yeah. When you showed the picture of the basket with them. Yeah. Would you like that, Sarah? I could do a crisp. I love making crisp. And a cobbler. Wouldn't you love it? Oh, and it'll have plenty of butter on the crust.
What would make it perfect is like this tree and that other dragon tree.
Which one?
We're in the same area in the same era as that big shoe crowd. Can you imagine like one of those families having these trees planted, like these weird these trees, like
I can't imagine them liking things like that because it shows abundance. I don't think that crowd, the big shoe crowd, wouldn't want a good
Joe.
Joe,
hey.
Wow, look at that. Joe.
What's up, family? How you guys doing?
Doing well. This is
doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you.
How are you, Joe?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I saw you guys pop up when I had to jump on and check out the show. I was checking you out earlier, Jen. That was a good show earlier.
Oh, really? Thank you.
I was able to catch the whole thing. So I said, hey, let me check out you and John.
Did you see the one from a couple days ago where she went totally ballistic on the system?
Oh, yes. Well, that's what I love about Jim. Jim doesn't play. Jennifer, she tells it like it is, and she lets you know the truth.
Thank you. It gets me in trouble.
I was sending her a message, sending a message telling her I'm gonna have to create a backup channel for her because that one might just get it nuked.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened before, has it? Oh my goodness.
No.
How's your wife doing? How's your wife?
She's wonderful. She's doing really, really good. I have to tell you asked about her.
Yeah.
We were asking about you this weekend because we thought you was going to make it to the gathering.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know if you.
How was Gettysburg?
Oh, is that where it was up near Philly?
Yeah, we were in Gettysburg.
Oh wow, nice. Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We were,
You
we
guys
were
had
at the
history.
battlefield. We were at the turning point.
Oh my goodness, that's powerful. I love
Yeah.
that you were doing that like in a historical place like that.
Yes, it was amazing.
Powerful.
It was
Oh, I
amazing. You know, speaking of trees, they actually at the cemetery, they still have the trees from when the battle took place.
Oh, wow.
That
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
actually still on those grounds, and those
Oh
trees
yeah.
are like, it's like looking at history, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Karen knows a lot about trees. Like trees are deep. Like it's
Yes,
powerful. How many, references in the Bible to trees
Mhm.
and yeah,
yes, very spiritual. There's a lot of spiritual stories
yeah.
too from the African days. When I was in Kenya, I heard of quite a few stories about trees.
Oh yeah.
Back in the ancient times and even now, that is very, very spiritual. So very
Mhm.
significant.
Nice, nice, nice. Wow.
Where is Karen? Are you still on, Karen? She's got. I don't like when she gets quiet because that means she's
Uh-oh.
rolling one and she's out
No,
back or
what,
something.
Karen explained to me, like Karen is a New Yorker. She's a real New Yorker. So
Oh, there
New
she is.
Yorkers are, they're on the move.
Yes, they are.
They're on the move, and I love it. I miss New York so much. Like, wow, that energy is nothing like it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
New York, New York.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna stick around for a while?
Yeah, I'll
That's
stick around for a
nice.
little bit, and
Good. Oh,
I'm
no.
All right.
I'll probably for about 10 minutes, and I'm gonna hop on and do some work real quick. So
Okay.
had to
Nice.
hop on.
All righty.
Great.
So as we've talked about in the past, we've talked about Mercury a lot
Mm-hmm.
and the role it played in with the mud flood and all the energy generating technologies that they had, that kind of stuff. But it keeps coming up. I keep seeing it. Like I saw this. Mercury and gold played a major role in past technology. Why did they go around removing the mercury and the bells? Remember, we talked about the bells, and people kept removing all these bells in World War II and all these other wars. And it's like something they did not want people, whether it was, like a healing frequency with these bells or whatever it was, they didn't want people to have these bells. And they went around and started taking away anything that had mercury and that kind of stuff. They made it sound like mercury was like, don't go near it. It's, don't look at it. Don't touch it. Don't mess around with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the old, and I've got a picture, I'll show a bigger picture, but on the old, like Tartarian, the old mud flood, all the buildings have those, antennas and all the rods and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So was the grid a problem for them, or did they, that they had to get us disconnected from it? What benefits could we get from the ether? They keep talking about it. So where is, here it is here. Because a lot of those buildings that they keep saying that like were established, like they weren't built, like they were founded, they were established. And you never see construction pictures. And then you see like empty streets and stuff with these magnificent buildings and all, and then people just amazingly showed up out of nowhere. And then there's a lot of orphans and all this, orphanages started showing up and that kind of stuff. So they had like these, and this is just an example, these different parts to these tops of these buildings. And if you notice, a lot of them had this opening here where it had like these cylinders that had red mercury in these capacitors, as they call them, these resonating modulators, amplifier, and then the antenna and they used gold with them. A lot of these buildings had gold associated with the mercury, and it's like they were in a hurry to get rid of them. It's like, okay, the reset happened. People are starting to show up. They don't know where they're at, what's going on. Let's get rid of all the evidence.
Right.
And they had all these fireplaces with I think we showed them before, like the fireplaces with the metal
plate
doohickeys on them.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to ask you, Joe, never had a mud flood conversation with you, but you being from the same place that I'm from, does this bring up to you like a sense of like, I've seen a lot of this before, like especially if you know Philadelphia's architecture, like in West Philly, especially.
Yes.
There were a lot of things, and when I look at these old pictures from the 1800s, it's a weird memory, but it's blurry. I can't explain it. Do you have that too?
Yes, you know, it reminds me of a lot of the mosques that are in Philly, especially West Philly, because you know in West Philly there's a huge population of Muslims, so a lot of their structures are built with the little, you know, dome with the antenna, and you know they use the gold sometimes for the top part of it. So it reminds me too of some of the mosques in Mount Airy as well. That have like kind of the gold tops on it. So yeah, it definitely does. And you know, the Muslims are the population is growing tremendously in Philadelphia. So you see a lot of these everywhere, and even in different other churches as well. Church buildings, like Catholic buildings, you'll see the structures like that.
Yep. And some of the churches I found out, Joe, the church my parents were married in West Philadelphia, it was one of these kind of churches, and it has been leveled. You would never know it was there.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of the churches, the old structure buildings there are coming down, and they're trying to rebuild them. But the historical buildings, they're trying to keep them, you know, intact. But I think something's going on behind the scenes in Philly where they're trying to, you know, get rid of some of this stuff.
Get rid of history, right? Because I know John has to have the same thing because he's Cleveland, which is very similar to Philly. But I remember a really tall, it was one of these really elegant apartment buildings on Lincoln Drive, and it stood, it was like a skyscraper, but it was all that old architecture, wood, bricks, and you know, all the stonework, but it was a skyscraper. It, you know, all the tall trees, it went beyond. And you know what I'm talking about? It was right on Lincoln Drive near Green.
Green, yes.
Near Green.
Yes, I know exactly.
And I remember when we were driving to West Philly, I would look up and I would dream that I could live in it because it looked like a castle. It was so beautiful. And when I went to college and moved away, and you know how you see things, and I came back, and I'll never forget when I asked, what happened to that building? And everybody was like, they didn't care. They were like, what do you mean, what building? And I'm like, the building. And they're like, oh, they don't remember the building.
Unless it's on Jersey Shore or something like that, they don't remember it.
I always remember that building.
You remember it too?
Yeah,
I have looked.
I used to live in East
Yes,
Falls, so
I have looked for that. I have looked in the like I've looked online to try to find out about the building. I probably need to go to the city records because nobody seems to my mother remembers because she has a great memory, but it's like a lot of people just look at you like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it was a huge. It looked like a castle. Like I wanted to live in there. It literally
was
looked
so
like
elegant, you all. It was so, the people who lived in this building, they had to be like very high class people.
Yes.
But you know, I'm wondering if maybe they were in another timeline.
Maybe.
What?
Maybe.
Another reset?
Hey Jeff, thank you. Hey,
Yes, Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. He loves your gramophone.
Timeline, you guys. What if this was one? But you remember, so
I remember always seeing it every time. Look, every time I would even come up like City Line, I could see it from City Line or coming up through the the expressway.
Yes, you could.
You know?
Yeah, it was very tall. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I'm not just the.
I didn't think anybody else would remember that building, but I remember that. I was like, I used to, as a kid, I used to be like, man, I want to. Who's in there? Is the queen in there? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. So now I'm thinking that's like maybe this
The
was
Queen of Philly.
Like, okay, John, could that have been a Tartarian overlay that accidentally merged timelines for a period of time?
Well, yeah, we've already seen them try to compress time and steal time and add time to different periods, like where they would claim that it was like a Roman inspired or this Russian inspired or whatever, which when they were trying to describe it didn't make sense. It made more sense that there were actual Romans there or there were actual whatever it was, because a lot of these buildings.
I'm going to hop off real quick, but listen, it was a pleasure
Oh my gosh! Thank
Yes,
you.
Joe.
I'll have to catch you guys another time, man. Thank you. Thank
All
you so
right,
much.
Well, if you're always welcome, Joe. If you want to hop on with us, you're always welcome.
Yes, that's
Okay,
so
yeah, I'll
nice.
definitely be in touch. I'll be in touch with both of you guys.
Okay,
All right.
have a good one. Tell your wife I said hi.
Yes, we'll do.
Yes, tell her we said hi.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Joe. Yeah, but there's so much, and the good thing is so many people see it now, because I see on YouTube there's so many different channels where people talk about Tartaria, the mud flood, and all the architecture, and trying to hide time and trying to mask the resets and this and that. So that's really encouraging to me that so many people gravitate towards that and latched onto it and like see that that was a thing that these people did, that it was something that, okay, it's time for another reset because people are getting wise to what we're doing. They're getting too much free energy. They're getting too much and it's like going back to what you said earlier about them getting bored, the elite, these controlling class or whatever, getting bored. Let's get rid of these peasants. All right, these peasants bore me.
Yeah.
We'll leave the buildings for now since we spent the money to build them and do whatever. We'll leave them for now for the next set of peasants. So that they hit the red button, then something happens and mysteriously time changes. Like, instead of it being the 1300s, now it's the 1500s or whatever. And history's they've had time to make up a different history to cover things up.
Yep.
And
it's like it reminds me of Squid Games. Did you see Squid Games?
No.
You haven't seen it?
I don't watch many things on Netflix because
Yeah,
Netflix is hard to watch sometimes because their programming is so woke, but no, I have not seen Squid Games or whatever it's called.
That's where I see decadent societies going. Like the whole thing was what you did. It's like rich people that just for sport they partake in genocide and and have fun.
Karen, I think it's 120 years. I think it's closer to that instead of 100 years, every 120 years.
And then
especially, yes, exactly. And this is kind of what I was getting at. By like and that's why I added the 20 years, like 1820, 1920, even though it's 100 years. Like if you're to go from 19 or 1800 to, it's always around 100 years. And so with technology, as far as we've gotten with, social media and that kind of stuff, it's harder to do an overt, just, okay, we're starting over and we're changing history, we're blah, blah, blah. They would have to, and who knows, maybe they will. They would have to get rid of all the electronic or data records of everything. They would have to literally send us back to a period where technology wasn't a thing, and they'd have to hide the technology again, like the airplanes, the cars, the computers, the interwebs and satellites and that kind of stuff. Not that if we were primitive again and didn't have the access to that, we would know there were satellites until one crashed to Earth, because it wasn't functioning. Let's see. Jeff says, does that mean we are en route to our next world war, or can we get wise in time? That's a twofold answer for me. I know what Jennifer's going to say, but it's a twofold answer for me. And then I'll have Jennifer answer too. If I didn't believe what I think is going to happen, I would agree with you that we are en route to that war that you're talking about, and which would lead to a famine, poverty, a one world government, one world religion, all this other stuff, and a softer reset, maybe not a genocide to the level where you would get it down to the Guidestone level, 500 million people or whatever. But I do believe that we are going to get wise in time. And that's why I believe we're in the Great Awakening. And that's why it's called the Great Awakening, is that the fact that so many people understand what's happening now, I think, is going to curb or derail the entire agenda and derail the entire the man behind the curtain has been exposed, so to speak, and people are wise. Look at what's happening in Sri Lanka and other countries, the Netherlands, and the truckers in Canada, and it's just people are to the point where they don't want to be reset again. They don't know that's what's happening, but they just don't. They know as human beings and as they just don't want to be reset. They don't. They want to keep moving forward. So
yeah,
that was kind of a long-winded whatever, but
I agree. Like, I believe the same thing you're saying. I believe that I'll speak for myself. I believe my Christian upbringing had me believing that things were going to go with the nuclear war scenarios and all of the, the books about the rapture and how far they would get in destroying the world. And I believe that Christians were going to go through this horrible time of complete suffering before we are finally, you could say emancipated by God, coming through the clouds, with a white horse and everything. So now I am understanding that the tribulation time and things like that, this is my belief right now. I kind of look at different things, but I feel that time is not for believers in God and Christians who have put their faith in Jesus Christ as their savior. This is just me. I'm just talking for me. I don't believe that they are going through this tribulation that was meant for the evil ones. So they would like us to believe that they have the power to destroy the earth with nuclear weapons, but I believe it's a lot of saber rattling, and that God is not going to let them go that far. They get to complete some things because I believe evil has to play itself out, and they are being judged and they're going through their undoing. So I believe, like John said, that we are wise enough because God doesn't need everybody to wise up. That's something that we have also thought, that it has to be so many people. But when you look at examples, it's always been like, think about Gideon's army of 300. You don't need, and they've even done movies, 300. They're always throwing it at our, so it could be that just 300 tried and true, the most hardcore truthers you can imagine that don't care. If it's 300 of them at the same time on earth that are just going really hard with, what I'm saying, truth and bringing back the countries to a national statehood where they have constitutional protections, you know what I mean? And no banking Ponzi schemes. So I believe that we are going to see the undoing of the banking Ponzi scheme people.
Yes.
And their religion and their practices. And we are the generation that's going to finally see them get what they have coming. And they don't get another chance to do these resets. They don't. That's how I feel.
I feel like that's 100% correct. And I also feel like we were put here for this time because God knew we could handle this. And I feel like this is God's way of saying, this is the big push. This is never going to happen again. The people that are here now that are going to push against this are going to make sure that this BS doesn't happen in my world again. And after this is all said and done, there'll be things in place, like these are things that you would tell your kids, your grandkids, like it'll keep getting passed down. And with technology the way it is, it'll get passed down digitally in other ways. That I think this is actually going to launch us into a much better future, a much better society, where they're not going to want this to ever happen again. And the majority will feel that way. and they'll safeguard it, or they'll figure out ways to safeguard this insanity from happening again, because now that it's exposed, that it's been going on for so long, I think people are just, the more the more you see, like how the more you piss, the bubbling up or whatever. I think you're not the only one. I mean, you have millions of people that feel that way. The more they see and the more they realize how long this has been going on, and the fact that these people have used everybody and duped everybody, taken advantage of their goodwill and their good nature, that would piss me off. Oh, it did it in the beginning, knowing that somebody willfully lied to me or misled me because they knew I would believe them, because they knew I was a good person, and they knew that I wouldn't question them. Right. And they used that for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Yep.
And I think people, that's their big red pill, is like, it shocks them awake. It literally, like, they've been doing this for how long? They've been duping me for how long? And it's pissing people off. I mean, it's pissing people off to the point where you can't forget it. Your kids aren't going to forget it, because you're not going to let them forget it. And they're not going to let their kids forget it. And now that it's all digital, nobody's going to forget it, because it's all being documented for future generations. Remember my grandkids will be looking back. Yeah, my granddad, he was in the great meme war of 2020 to 2022 or whatever, memeing like an MFer. He was, knee deep and
they'll have your memes in museums, right? A museum of memes. Yeah.
And who knows, like a Pearl Harbor kind of thing, but with memes, just kind of like.
That's a great idea, man. That's somebody should run with that, like an online meme museum.
I'm going to. Karen says this is the greatest time ever to be alive, to be a witness to it all. Yes.
For you remember me, but okay, I love that you said that. And another thing, they duped us because they appealed to authority. And that's something that we've learned also since 2020. And I exposed the nurses, is that we had this museum. You guys are so creative. We can do this as a group project. Just let me have a portion of the museum to show some of my memes that I have fun with.
Anybody that wants to put memes in there, it'll be like the biggest museum. It'll be like the Library of Congress or the Library at Alexandria or whatever. It'll just be like the largest museum ever.
Curated. You could have exhibits, you could have themes, like they really, have at the museum.
A section called Karen, and then you'd have all the associated memes with Karen.
All the Karen memes, all the crazy Libra memes. I don't know. But they appeal to authority, and that's how they've been able to dupe us, because they told us that they are royal families, and this guy who wears the big fish hat, we're supposed to call him Papa, and we're supposed to give him our children.
Remind me of the segue. You just gave me a segue. Keep going.
We're supposed to give him our soul, and we're supposed to sign our lives away and birth certificates. So that is like, they can't continue now because the cat is really out of the bag. There's no way to put the cat. If you've tried to put a cat in a bag, has anybody ever imagined trying to put a cat in a bag? Oh boy, you're gonna, how Salty says, F around and find out.
That's right.
One of those opportunities for you to F around and find out, right? You'll look like you got in a fight with a weed whacker, but they cannot pull this off with the appeal to authority anymore, because the doctors have shown that they have no more morals as a group. They don't have trust of the public. The pharmaceutical companies are like a joke. Whenever I see a commercial and they're doing they play this lovely day. It's a lovely day.
You're probably going to die, but it's a lovely day.
Yeah, and then they talk about, you can die, liver failure.
Or your kidneys are going to fail, or your liver is going to fail.
and then they're at the beach, and they always
But
have
you're not going to have eczema.
they all have great music. Have you noticed they pay a lot of money to get the licensure to pay for Bill Withers' Lovely Day for a pharmaceutical
Right.
ad, and I work for Big Pharma. I remember when they did direct to consumer. So I'm partially, if people could forgive me, I used to sit on committees, like ad hoc committees, to plan consumer ads, direct consumer ads, and we found a way to fly under the radar and not just do ads in magazines, but we were able to do commercials. Isn't that horrible? Evil, the pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Evil. The memes will leave. Oh my. Yes, they have to. This is a great idea. I think only John can make this happen. He's gotta, remember us when he becomes big.
I'll have to wait till the FBI and the CIA are not weaponized before I can create the meme museum. Because I'll be like Nelson Mandela. I'll be in prison for like 30 years or whatever. And just
not if you do it online first.
Jeff, thanks for coming, Jeff.
Yes. Oh, nice to have you. You could do it online first and then make a physical museum.
Well, even then, that's what I'm saying. I could do like a website or something.
Yeah.
That would be like, we're taking it down. You're too on point with all this stuff. But when you were talking about like the big hats or the big whatever, like the important people were wearing because they were wearing tall whatever, like crowns or hats or whatever. Yeah. It's funny you should say that, because I thought the same thing today, and I ran across this. The turban.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We talk about the tinfoil turban all the time.
Yes, I love turbans. I literally love turbans. This is great.
As little is conclusively known of the origins of the turban. The earliest evidence of a turban-like garment is from Mesopotamia in a royal sculpture dating from 2350 BCE. I love the modern dating system. God only knows when it actually was. Thus, it was known that the turban was in use before the advent of Islam and Christianity. Therefore, the origin of the turban cannot be ascribed to religious reasons alone. These headdresses were originally worn by royalty and spiritual leaders and used to commute power. So, and when I got these pictures, they were all small, so I'm going to have to blow them up here. Hold on.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Wow.
I mean, it looks like a head trauma kind of thing. It's like what you'd wear at a hospital.
No, you're right, it does, but I don't know why I like it. It just looks interesting and beautiful to me. I love head wraps.
Yes, Pepe will be involved, lady.
Definitely has. And look, Casey said cat turd.
Cat turd, yes. Cat turd they all will be. There's CP3 memes. There's like hundreds. I can't keep count of them now because they're all on Telegram, and it's hard to follow them all because they're all just. And now you have Steven voiceover. You have, I don't know if it's Dr. E. Fanzor or Dre Fanzor. You have William Avacum. You've got so many of them.
Look at the names. These are now the names of a new genre when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, just like the Renaissance, where you had like these specific artists and authors and things from the Renaissance. This will be the new Renaissance. The memes will start the new Renaissance.
I love it. It's powerful what you're saying, because memes are, they are powerful ways of communicating.
They are. And that phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and didn't come about by accident. It's because it's true. You don't have to have words in anything, although most good memes will have some words, but you don't need them. You don't need them. The picture, the image conveys everything you need to know.
Yeah. If you're really creative with it, it'll give you, you can save words. Oh, I love these. Wow. These.
I saw these things over here, and I'm like,
they're beautiful.
what is going on here?
Look at
And I think
unique
people in general, forever just like having stuff on their head. I don't know what it is, but people I wear a baseball cap all the time. I'm a hat guy. I have dozens and dozens of hats upstairs, and I got like 10 of them like on my desk right here.
See?
I love hats. I love stuff on my head.
Have a meme like this. See, this is where the creativity comes in. You have you in different hats and people in those kind of hats, because someone from another timeline would look at your hat and say, wow, look at that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you imagine people from another timeline just being amazed with us? Look at his hat. He has a collection. Look. And you could do
how did we ever evolve?
You could have all your just like this, all your hats, and you do a picture, all your hats.
This is one of my favorite. I see this a lot in movies like these, I don't know, like in the Middle East, like these people, they carry around these sabers and stuff, and they have these.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They look like women's boobs on their head or something, just kind
That's
of.
amazing. Yeah, wow.
Well, like in Indiana Jones, they're like in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, in that market where he was fighting that guy that was flinging the sword around. He had one of those guys had a turban like that too.
Yes, I love it. Love it, love it. It feels really dressed up or something, like Tartarian. That's why I like a lot of those Tartarian pictures, because the people are just more refined with their fashion. It's not overboard to me. It's just more like an elegance, like somewhat understated elegance. Am I wrong? You have over 100. Whoa. See, that would be memeable. Karen's whole collection of hats, right? And put them, do really look.
Instead of the cat lady, she could be the hat lady.
The hat lady. I love hats. I love head coverings too, but we just love different types of head coverings.
Yes. And I don't know what it is, where it came from, or why people even started that, because it seems to be a thing. Every generation, as far back as recorded history, there's also ancient Egypt. I mean, they had hats or head coverings or,
Wow.
So I wonder how it actually started. Was somebody sitting around a fire or something and just like put a beehive on his head or something, or put a empty log or where did the first hat come from? I wonder, anybody know where did the first hat, and then not only that, like the first recorded instance of a hat or a head covering, what was the first picture of a person with a hat or a head covering?
Good question. That would be an amazing question to pose and then begin a search for research. It's better than saying, but I agree. But yeah, what is the first recorded history of anyone wearing a hat? Darn, you got my
or any head covering or whatever. And I'm going to say it has to qualify. It has to be removable. Like you have to be able to reuse it. Like you have to be able to take it off and put it back on. And I guess some turbans you wrap every time. Like it's not you take it off and whatever.
Right. Yeah. They have to be wrapped, but a hat is also for a function. So what's the function of a hat?
True. That's true, because I wonder if that's how they started, was the practicality of keeping rain off your face or sun off your face, or and maybe it was a royalty thing, maybe to distinguish themselves from the peasants or whatever. Maybe they started wearing stuff on their head, or I don't know.
Good question. Or look at Lady Knievel says peacocks. Maybe they were mimicking what they see in the animal world. Oh my God, I think we figured it out together. I think they were looking at the animal kingdom and becoming inspired, right? Could that be? I was balding and whirling. He made a wig for himself. out of fig
Yes, Sarah says the toupee.
the toupee.
The toupee was born in the Garden of Eden. There you go.
This is a fun discussion because now you got me thinking, because that is a really good question.
And I could see like
Wow.
either functionality or practicality, or the animal kingdom. Maybe there was something like a bird or something that looked like it had a headdress or something, and they wanted to imitate it or
They
whatever.
look like it. I think that's it. I think you gave it away, Lady Knievel, when you said peacocks, and that made
Peacock.
birds. I always watch the birds. I live in a like it's an aviary, like a little sanctuary for birds, and the birds are so beautiful. And I know people that have pet birds, and when they want to show off, they make that little hat. What do you call that thing? It goes up and they show off, and I'm
Some
like,
kind of plume or whatever it's called.
and they are real show-offs. Like, they know that they're beautiful, and they have these beautiful headdresses. So maybe it's from the bird kingdom. I like saying kingdom, don't you, for animals?
Karen, we know Google is a little bit of the part of the narrative and social engineering, but they probably haven't got to the hats yet. So that's probably true.
I mean, it's like they always point to Egypt for everything. I'm starting to now wonder about all of this. This whole experience is making me question so much stuff. It really is. Like, I just think that they give us that narrative too much about Egypt that now I'm like, wait a minute. They want us to like and believe that Egypt is the first and everything.
Well, there's even people that have gone, I've heard this before, where like when in Christianity, when people say amen or amen, because there's a lot of people, if you notice, they say amen, not amen, not they say amen. And there's Amen Ra. Amen Ra. Ra was obviously in Egypt, was like a god in Egypt. So I heard some theory a while ago about that kind of transferring that, because they wanted people to still worship those deities like Ra and Osiris and Thoth and all the others. And so they wanted to like try to incorporate the imagery and the names themselves. Like they felt like the more you said their names, like the media, like Medea, like Medusa, like Medea. Like the more you repeat it, the more real it becomes, or the more normal it becomes, or whatever. So like the Amen was like a shortened version of Amen Ra, like Amen, so you're saying the first part of it, but they weren't going to be obvious and include the Ra part of it, because now there's Christ and Christianity. So I feel like you're onto something about, they're always pointing back. And you look at like Hollywood and the imagery and the symbolism with the all-seeing eye, with the Illuminati and that kind of stuff.
On our money,
which was Ra's symbol, was the all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
And excuse me. So who knows? Who knows? You never.
Egypt is now you're helping me to decode something. Egypt is seen as a place of bondage, isn't it? It's the place where the children of God went into bondage and captivity. So when we think about how we have been put in bondage through the banking cartels, the Vatican leadership, not the Catholic people, I have to make that distinction a lot, but the Vatican leadership, and they've done the birth certificate thing. A lot of us know about that. So when you think about Egypt, maybe they point us to Egypt all the time. Like you were saying, to repeat something, you make it real. And maybe by us looking to Egypt as like it's so ingrained in our culture, is it keeps us in a spell of bondage. Like we will stay in Egypt until we leave Egypt. Like we need to go back to our original common law, law and order. What is our original constitution? And we need to know this stuff. That's why I've been inspired, because we can throw off Egypt. We could take that pyramid off of our currency and get rid of the monuments all around.
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm starting to see something different, because I was caught up in an Egyptian spell. And just yesterday, I took my picture of my Facebook banner, which was a picture of me in Egypt. I took it down. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yesterday, I felt that it was time for me to take it down, and it had been up for years. So isn't that interesting that yesterday I took it down?
Yeah, and it is that whole idea of weaving this, continually weaving the spell to keep you trapped in it. Yeah, that's exactly right, Karen. The straw man. We talked about the straw man last week. And,
that's right. And I'm thinking that Egypt is really tied to this bondage now. And I was caught up in Egypt. I wanted to go and visit Egypt. And I was really caught up in it, like really, obsessed almost when I was a little girl and stuff. So it must be something. It must be something to that now that I'm going to ponder. If, and what you just said, the Amun Ra. So is that a way to keep us saying something that keeps us programmed?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's true or not. It's just something I've heard in the past that sort of caught my attention, because the way they explained it made sense, and whether it's true or not, I have no idea. But there's a lot of ties to that, like you said, that weaving. They're constantly weaving a spell. I mean, you look at it, look at that grove that they had. What the hell was it called?
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, where they just closed it a couple of years ago. And just like the Guidestones going down, like that was like something that went under the radar, that people, unless you're in this movement, it wasn't a big deal to anybody.
Exactly.
But to us, it was like, yes, that's like another one of their symbolic areas, and for their little club, I'm not gonna say it on this channel, but that involved some unusual things, and involving some things you wouldn't normally do to people or with people. So it's interesting, because the spell is being broken, because people are, I think, like they're seeing like the weaving of the fabric, like they're seeing the spell being woven around them, and they could stop it, and they could, not be as influenced by it. And Hollywood was the biggest, they knew, even Malcolm X said that, the media is the enemy of the people. You could make people, basically worship the worst people in the world, and you could demonize the best people in the world. And if you say it long enough and loud enough, people just start to believe it. It's got to be true.
And they just repeat it. Like, I listened to a little bit of CNN recently. It was by accident, but they were reading. They were saying January 6th and Trump keeps pushing the big lie of election. And I was just like, it was so weird to hear them, because it was so obvious, like that they're like, I didn't see it before, just how extreme their lies are.
Their biggest phrase right now is, if it goes against anything that they're trying to push, it's a threat to our democracy. They say that it could be any. I even made a video the other day that was it was like Joseph DeMott gave me the idea. He goes, why don't you make one, but flip it on them, show them every time somebody says it's a threat to our democracy. And I did make it.
Yeah, I did too. They did the one back in 2020 where they put them all together, and they were all reading from the same script. Doesn't matter what new. And I have it at the end of one of my videos, because I was telling people, because when you get new people and they might come in and start, I don't like how you do this. And it's like, wow, you're new here. Why are you coming at me? And I did a video explaining, yeah, I'm a little quirky. I put music in my videos, and well, at least I don't sound like these people. And I had a clip of them repeating like robots. It's a threat to our democracy. A threat.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes, Karen. You're exactly right.
I'm glad you reminded me, John, of the boat. I forgot how the boat. I was keeping up.
That was extremely important that got taken out.
It was very, and we need to go back, a lot of us truthers, because we were on a roll. We were reporting the stuff in 2020, and some of us may have, maybe not been keeping up with it like me. And now I'm noticing, wow, wait a minute. I talked about that stuff in 2020. Now it's circling back in a way but that's a good connection to the Stones. We need to be reminded so we'll know how far we're getting as you know what I'm saying? That's a good thing to be reminded. Bohemian Grove went down, and they also sold, do you remember this report? They sold the the forest where they had the human hunting in Germany, the Black Forest.
Mm-hmm.
That was also, a lot of big real estate was going up for sale in 2020. It was another property like the Bohemian Grove also.
Yes. There's
this is good.
I talked about, I'm going to lead into something here. Anyway, on my show the other morning, I talked about there's 4 members of Facebook who are former CIA intelligence kind of officers, workers, whatever, and that were recently such. So, and it's on their profiles. And the one guy made a video, and this is what prompted me to do this, made a video. It was like that nuclear bomb video, that nuclear attack video. It's kind of what it seemed like to me. Basically saying how important his job was to keep disinformation off of Facebook, and that it was a troubling job, and he had to make hard decisions every day and all this other stuff. I'm like, you got to get out of here. GTFO is what I was thinking in my head.
I love it when it's so obvious, right, John? It's like, come on, man, you gotta.
So I made this video. It's only like little over a minute long, and I want to play it because I don't care if it's on YouTube or whatever, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So the first part is the actual, you may have to pause the video later, is the actual profiles of these individuals that work for Facebook that are former CIA. Let me rephrase that say they're former CIA.
That's a better way to say it. Thank you.
Right. They may still be on the payroll because we know Facebook is a DARPA program anyway.
There you are.
Right. Yep. That's a whole nother show.
Sharing of biased.
Oh, John, can you hear us? Oh, I was thinking he was setting it up. John, we can't see the.
Oh, I forgot to share it. Oh my God. Hold on.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still setting it up. I didn't
Oh
know.
no.
Okay.
I
All right.
I must, like you, I must have blacked out or something and just forgot to. There we go. Here we go. It's all right. So here we go. Try it again one more time.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets publish things we aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Boy, now we're really in the money. Yeah, nothing to do but select.
That was excellently done. They added a twist on it by putting all the pictures of Hunter and stuff. I hadn't seen it done that way. That was really good. Oh my!
I did that.
You wait a minute. You did that?
Yes, that's why I said I got inspired on a show that I did the other morning, and so Joseph gave me the idea. So I was like, okay, I'll put it together.
Oh my God, I didn't get it. Okay, I'm tripping. You know what it is? I've had a long. My brain is just in. Oh my God, John, that is so brilliant to put. You took it to a level of. Oh my gosh, that needs to go viral. Where do you have it? Because I'm not on anything. Like I don't.
Well, we got to change your Telegram channel so I can post stuff on your channel or give you messages. Because right now,
yeah, you're supposed to. John's gonna help me with my Telegram channel. You are because I don't do anything with it. I just post and go. I used to. Telegram has been hard for me to get used to, but no, that will be great if so. You'll. I need to spend time right on Telegram.
So basically what you have to do is because you have a channel and there's a way to allow people to make comments. But in order to allow people to make comments, it's almost like you're creating another channel that's like your chat channel. So whenever somebody comments on one of your posts, it goes to that chat channel. So all the comments go into that. Yes. So for example, I might as well just show this.
Oh, this is good. I need to figure it out. I didn't know. I didn't understand it. I didn't know you could do that. You could have like a chat going from another place to Telegram.
Well, it was still on. It's still on Telegram. So, like for example, here's Jennifer's channel here. So if you see there's no place to make a comment or whatever, but if you go to like Pepe's channel, like Pepe Lives Matter.
Oh no, I miss all this. I don't see any of this anymore. Kids are doing.
And you know what? Yes, it's called hashtag Bidening.
That's really funny.
So if you look at like Pepe's posts here, see. You can add these reactions where people can like do a thumbs up, heart it, on fire, praying hand.
Wow.
Or you can do both. See where it says 120 comments? So when I click on this comments thing, if I click here, it takes me to what's like a discussion channel. So these are like all the comments. Like literally there's every day there's like 20,
I know about the I didn't know that you could do all this though. This is all new now. You can it looks a lot like other social media. They've advanced a lot with these functions.
So like when Sarah or anybody comments on one of my posts, for example, it automatically see how it says leave a comment here?
Right.
So if I leave a comment,
I've left, I left, I'm sure, comments on channels. I've seen comments. I used to spend more time on Telegram, actually. And I was getting used to the whole thing. It's hard to navigate, like when people do the voice chats, is it called?
Yes. All right. See, now that I made that comment, here's for my channel. Where is it? All right, my channel, the Hogwash Report, because that's my show in the morning. It's called the Hogwash Report.
Right,
so I created a channel in order to allow comments. It's called the Hogwash Report Chat. It only shows 6 members, only because you don't have to join the chat to leave comments.
Oh,
so
gotcha. Okay,
every comment and every post is in this channel. So like when I posted this,
so it's a whole other channel, you're saying, like aside from the main channel,
directly linked to your channel specifically.
Okay. All right, I'm understanding a little.
That makes sense.
It'll make sense in a little bit. It'll make sense. It's not, with me and it'll come to me. I'm a nerd with the technology, but I just haven't.
I'll help you with it. You'll get it. It'll be.
I haven't applied
It'll
myself to Telegram. I've been spending most of my time is like YouTube. I just spend a lot of time on YouTube. Yeah. So that. What is this? What is this? Oh no, that is always so. Oh my gosh.
I misplaced that. It's supposed to be in my memes folder here. Sorry, hold on.
One group, she says the hogwash. I bet it is. You all, I'm so out of the loop, I feel, with a lot of things. Like, it's weird. It's like I've been spending too much time researching. That's been one thing. And
and that's why I totally respect that, because I know you're one of the few people that actually. There's a lot of people say they do research, and then there's people that actually do the research and spend the time doing the research. So since we're talking about it, I might as well make comment on this, because I see this a lot where people that do really good research and they put out really good content, whether it's about election, the big lie, or anything like that. These people are taking time out of their lives to do this, and a lot of times it's taking away from work or taking away from a way they would normally make money or whatever, because they're totally into what they're doing. Like Captain Seth Keschel, for example, Patel Patriot, and others. They have Substacks that people can subscribe to get the real content, the hard work that they put into. Like, these aren't things that they just post normally on Telegram because they spent that much time, doing the research for it. Gotcha. So I don't mind, because I see a lot of black pillars going around. These people are just grifters. They're doing this. You're just trying to make money off of people. It's like, no, if you're losing money or you're not making money because you're wholeheartedly into this and you're doing it to help people, to wake people up and to report the facts on different things. Right. It's no different than somebody becoming a journalist and getting paid for their stories or getting paid for their, their photographs or whatever.
Good point.
So to subscribe to your Substack, I think a lot of it's like $5 a month or something like that for some of these people that do all this work, that do amazing work.
That's awesome. And that's good you bring that up. People get upset. Like I was nervous to monetize my channel at first when that opportunity came up for me to monetize that new channel, because I never monetized even my old channel. I could have monetized it, but it wasn't a thing for me. I was enjoying putting content together, and I was still nursing and stuff. But when I lost my nursing ability to work, I jumped into this wholeheartedly, and I felt like called, and I never knew I enjoyed research this much. I knew I liked it, but I could get lost in time. It's that way for me. I can spend hours in research and putting things together. And, I want this to be my life's work. I would love if it can be of a value, and I would like to write books and things, but being independent and not going the route of having a manager, a handler, and a publisher and all these kind of things, an agent. If you do everything, you build organically, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people will get angry at you when you're trying to at least be compensated. They want you to continue being a pauper, you know, and that shows that you're really a truthful person. But I had to get over my fear of monetizing my channel because I try to get subscriptions to music things, and I try to get the
not cheap. Everything costs money.
Yeah, the SteamYard that costs $25 a month or something, or was
Right.
yeah, to get the one that I could do more things and make it look better from a production stand. I'm trying to upgrade what I do. And you know, if I mention like, yeah, you can do, you know, you can do this, I didn't want to feel like, oh, they're gonna say I'm a grifter. But it's just, hey, can I recoup some of the, if you like the content I'm doing,
It's like
using subscriptions, I'm trying to do this,
yes.
and it just replenishes. Or don't be upset if I put
It's not like you're gonna go buy a Mercedes with it.
yeah, if I do ads on it, it's not like it's a whole lot of money because they have my channel again. It doesn't grow. In fact, the last few videos I've been doing, maybe I'm losing subs, but my subs went down so much after today's video. So maybe people are leaving because they don't like that I'm talking about the subject matter, but that's okay because it's good to lose people that don't want to listen. I'd rather people unsubscribe if they don't like it, but I can't change and try to please people if I feel that I'm being led a certain way, but at least nobody's been upset about me putting ads onto it just to get a little something. And I'm just still, I mean, I haven't really gotten anything with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's new for me. So I'll see this month how it looks, but you know that you have to have a big channel to make that work and a lot of views and all this kind of stuff, you know? So I don't know, you guys. I understand what you're saying. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly, and Jen, I'm going to show you something because I think this might be actually a good route for you.
Okay.
It's not working for me because I don't promote it. I just started not that long ago, but do you know, are you familiar with Locals?
I've heard people mention, but I don't know about it.
Rumble owns it. So you can create your own community. Like I have the Hogwash Report community, for example.
Oh, wow.
So
This is nice.
people could join the community. You don't have to pay to join.
Okay.
You could create content that's paid content. What I do is I don't create paid content. I'll show you. I'll just log in real quick and show you like my dashboard.
Is this like Patreon?
It's better. It's way better.
Really?
And you're not going to get kicked off. You're not going to get kicked off of it because you're a conservative either.
Oh, really? Patreon did that, huh? Okay, so it's called Locals.
Oh, yeah.
It's spelled how is it spelled?
I'll
Just
send you
like-
all the info after the show. I'll send
thank
you.
This is fabulous. I just heard someone mention it like a while back, but I didn't know anything about this.
So when you go to Locals, for example, just as a regular Joe, it's locals.com. So when you go to Locals, you'll see all these different channels. You'll see all these like different videos, like where these people are talking about why you should be part of their channel, or like they'll talk about the content that they create. Like, so if it resonates with you, join their community. So all these people all have their own, like Laura Logan has an amazing community. Russell Brand, all these people have their own, Tulsi Gabbard.
Idea. This is awesome.
So this is my login, like where I log in to my Locals community. So I have a pinned video here that I posted March 13th. This is when I created the channel. It just says, welcome to the Hogwash Locals community.
Right.
I'm looking forward to one-on-one interaction with my followers in a community designed for meaningful interaction. And in your community, you're allowed to see this thing that says live streams here. You can have, depending on how many followers you have, like if you have less than 50 or 25, you can do up to 5 live streams a month for free, or, there's no charge for them. So
Yeah.
you can invite people to a special live stream that only your locals community can access.
Wow.
So again, you don't have to have them pay to join, but you're bringing people to the community to interact one-on-one. So like this is kind of like I hate to use Facebook, but this is kind of like a Facebook that Rumble has designed that's a community. So for example, and this is what I wanted to show you, because you have this on your YouTube videos. See this thing here? It says tip jar. Any post somebody could make, they could just give you a tip. They could just, you don't have to ask them to pay for a subscription to the community. But if they feel like they want to give you something, I did get one, I can't remember who did, but I did get one member from sharing who gave me like $15.
Oh, wow. This is so nice.
See,
I love it, how it's set up and how you're describing it. I didn't know that Rumble did.
See this thing here? He says you can buy coins. So as a consumer or as a visitor or a member, you can buy coins, and that's what you do with the tip jar. And then the owner of the community can actually cash those in because you use Stripe as the payment. You have to set up Stripe when you first, because you have to get these approved. Like you have to go through a little bit of a process to get the community approved. So I sometimes post duplicate content, but sometimes I'll post exclusive content only on the locals. But like I said, I haven't utilized it because my following is not nearly as large as yours. So I haven't really tried to utilize it. Like this, speaking of things people have to watch, if you haven't seen this movie Suicided, if you watch any movie this year, this movie you absolutely have to watch. It's about 30 minutes long. It is one of the most impactful things I have seen in years.
Really?
And it's about human and child trafficking, and it is about the people that were going to come out against it. You know, like the Lincoln Park guy and all these other people. Cappy, if you guys remember Cappy and that kind of stuff. But this is amazing. It's very well done. So I'll just post random stuff, like when I drop my NFTs and stuff. I
Yours
post
are
my NFTs
amazing.
on here.
Finish that. Look how nice. Wow.
I'll post shows and memes and whatever else on here. Just kind of.
I love your logo so much. It's so awesome.
But anybody that's part of it, that's a member, like I said, you don't have to charge because you can, but you don't have to. And I'm of the school that you attract more bees with honey than with but you can reply, you can share, but it's like Facebook. So you're creating a community that they're interacting only in this platform. So
I love this idea.
I like the idea of it, but I don't have a big enough following right now because
now let me make sure I understand this, John. If they join this locals, this Stripe thing, do the people have to join two things, or am I not understand? Do they have to do that?
No, that's for you as the content creator. The Stripe is the payment method.
I got you. Okay,
that's your back end, how you receive your money.
I love it. I love it. I was just afraid because some people are having, it's hard to get to a new, something new. You know what I mean? Like another thing. And
if I go to my content, my channel on Rumble, since it's associated with Rumble, there's a setting in Rumble that you can turn on. So where people subscribe to your channel on Rumble, there's a button that allows them to join the locals community as well. So if you go down here, see where it says enjoyed this video, join my locals community for exclusive content, and then it's a link to that.
I've been and you know what, I have not been posting on Rumble. I used to in 2021, because I was kicked off of 2 channels or 3. I was kicked off of so many things like Instagram.
Rumble is not as organic as YouTube. So like on YouTube, it doesn't matter what kind of channel you have. It's probably going to get found by some people, but just organically because it's such a large platform. It's been around for such a long time. That's why I hate to see it be the way it is, because it is a good platform for that. But Rumble, I think as Rumble grows and more people use it, more people will get found. Like right now, it's almost like I'm on a blacklist. It's like I literally, I went from like 10,000 followers to like on my original Rumble channel to like 1,200.
What happened?
And now
What did they took all those followers?
it's not Rumble.
It's not.
I changed the name of my show, and then I kept posting videos. Go to this other channel because I'm putting all my content on this other channel. And so like I know a lot of people watch it, but I only have like 120 subscribers, and it's like, you know, like a tenth of what it was.
Oh, I
so,
see.
but
Gosh,
but I think it's because unless people know who you are with Rumble, it's harder to find unless you're looking specifically for someone. Like you just don't randomly.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It could be like somebody is it's a search, it comes up, right? Is that what you're saying? Like, yeah.
Right. You'll see like funny pet and cat videos and stuff like that. You know, those are the ones that are getting all the views. And you can get your videos monetized on Rumble too. Because I have a few videos that are starting to get a little action on them. So I mean, it's like $5 here, you know, $6,
But that's
whatever
still
it
good that
It's
it's
like,
doing something, because it was taken. That's probably why I didn't do anymore, because I think with me, I can't spread myself too thin because I become really ineffective. So I had to say, okay, I'm gonna focus on this and really try to make it, you know, kind of just feed it. You know what I'm saying? Feed it, feed like that. What is that? Feed me, Seymour.
Seymour, like a little house shop of horrors, like
Yeah, little shop. Feed Seymour the YouTube.
Seymour.
Yes. But if I feed too many Seymours, then I become. It's something about it'll throw me off a whack. So I have to kind of, because I don't like to be over inundated with the technology. You know. Yes. Even though I like it, I can feel that it can have too many tentacles on me, and I'm like, you know, I want to be a farmer.
I'm trying to consolidate, and right now we're in a good period of time because there's a lot of options. But there's almost too many because
yes,
it depends on what you want to use a social media platform for. If you're just using it to educate and give content, there's some platforms that are better for that than others. If you're doing it for a social thing, like you want to interact with people in a community or whatever, then there's some platforms that are better at it than others. So I find like I have a Truth Social, obviously, account, but it's a different group of people on Truth Social. It's like the anti-Twitter. So you've got mostly, you know, a lot of conservatives and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of an echo chamber for things that we already talk about and discuss and believe in and that kind of thing. There are a lot of other people on there, but they're on there to attack people. They're not on there to have genuine conversation.
I see. Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten a process to be on it. It was so frustrating that I gave up, because I'm just like, you know, I get in my research thing and it's like, I got to fight to get on Truth. I was like, I can't do it. It's too much, you know? So I never got on.
So I use that for certain, like I'll communicate with certain people on there, like Joseph DeMott, who I do a show on Thursday morning called the Thursday Morning Drip. It's like a little hour and a half news show kind of thing, current events kind of thing. So I'll communicate with the people, for lack of a better phrase, the Q group, the people that are still, you know, like the memers and that kind of stuff. You know, like kind of that's what I use that for. And I'll follow a few people, but Telegram kind of became my home base after Facebook and that kind of stuff. Because it was welcoming. The people on there were great. And it was easy to use for me anyway. It seemed easy to use. And I like the format. And because I can just pick and choose the channels I want to look at content. I don't have to like go through a feed and scroll through 100 comments, you know, and that I can just click on the channel, you know, I don't have to like do that. But I do love the Locals platform because it has a familiarity with it, like a Facebooky kind of familiarity with it. Same kind of engagement features, but it has the added monetization feature, which is, to me, it's a great thing. But like I said, until I grow a community of some kind, it's just it's I'm talking to myself. I'm making posts and I'm the only one liking my posts because
so
there's
it's just like you said, it's something. And see, this is my thing also. I want to do a community thing, and I know Facebook is good for communities, but I heard they have something new on Twitter, and I was thinking maybe Elon was buying Twitter, but they said there's something called Twitter Spaces that people like, and Clubhouse. I signed up for Clubhouse. I tried to do a Clubhouse, and people didn't. You know what I'm saying? It's just too many.
yes.
That's what happens to me. It's just too much stuff, and I can understand. I can't pull people to do something outside of their comfort zone, because in my generation, a lot of Gen Xers are later adopters. They're not like us who are early adopters. So I get that. I studied some of that, and it makes sense, So my daughter was on me to do TikTok. She was like, Mom, you gotta do TikTok. It's great. And she sends me all these great TikToks. And I finally broke down. And all I did was I just started a whatever account, but I don't post on it. I grab TikToks because if I'm doing content, I find that TikToks are good to add in. That's the only reason. But I don't go on to look and spend time, because I feel overwhelmed with too many choices. And that goes back to what I said too, John. I don't like that our society, we go to that. It's like, it's feast or famine. It's like, it's too much, almost too many choices. Why can't things be more simple?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
that's why I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to funnel that down for myself. Like, I don't want to be on a ton of platforms. I want to land on one good one. And I like what Rumble is doing with locals and with Rumble, the video platform. And they're going to be having, web hosting services here within the next few months as well. So you don't have to go to Amazon or anybody else to host your websites and that kind of stuff. So it kind of seems like they're getting a lot of stuff together in one place. And like True Social, for example, their video platform is Rumble. Like, so they actually use the Rumble platform for their video backbone for True Social. So I have a feeling down the road somehow, like, Trump's media corporation is going to be more involved with like Rumble and all that stuff, because they're coming out with like a video streaming platform, like a YouTube, also like a Netflix kind of thing. So I think that if I can just like for example, we could have a Rumble's community or a locals community for this show or for your show or for whatever. That's maybe awesome. Not just you specifically, but just for the show.
Yeah.
And like
fans
of the show.
That's a great idea.
Because you can have live watch part. Like if you want to do a live stream, like I said, you get up to 5 at first. So you can do one a week. You have a live stream and like do a watch party on something, and it only happens on that platform on locals.
Right. That's what I like. It could be special, not the same. Like it could be different. But let me ask you this too, because I'm sorting what you're telling me. This is so amazing. Can you do things with copyrighted material if it's for educational use, or do they ding you for playing music and things like
that? I don't know, to be 100% honest, but like if it's like an overt thing, if it's an accidental thing, like YouTube will just kick it, like do a copyright claim. Like if somebody's playing music in the background and walks by, they'll give you a ding, like because it just happens to be playing. I don't know that that Rumble, like, or locals for that matter, is that strict. Like if it's just like you're not just airing something to try to monetize it. Like you're not playing a movie and charging people to watch it or something, or whatever.
No, but just I noticed like, okay, I could get away with a lot when it comes to that on Instagram, because recently I did it was just a little video, quick little video, because I don't do that a lot, but I was outside and let me see if people know about the fig, like, because my figs, I had a question. So I had my laptop on because I was listening to music outside. So it was playing a song in the background, but I didn't mean, you know what I'm saying? But you could get away with that on YouTube. I mean, on Instagram, and then I even shared the video to Facebook and it flew under the radar for some reason. So
Facebook and Instagram are the same company. So
yeah, so it flew under their radar. And the reason I'm asking, because I want to do something where I play music almost like, the old radio stations, and they played music, and I'd like to almost do that, like have my own little radio station and just give credit.
I think I would have to look into that. I don't know if like giving credit during the video while you're playing it is enough, because some artists are very particular and they don't want their stuff anywhere other than certain platforms like Spotify or whatever. So I'm not 100% sure, but I know like with radio stations, like they buy a license, which they pay a certain amount of money and they're allowed to do it.
Right. That's what I would like to find out.
That's a good question. I'm not sure on that.
And it wouldn't be just radio like format, but it would be something where I'm talking about the song in a breaking down way. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, let's talk about this song and what it meant. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's engaging and educational. So I was just wondering if this was open for those.
Worst case scenario, just do one and see what happens.
Just test it out, because I know that on Twitch, see, that's another format, and I send my live streams to Twitch, but I never go over there. But you can be like a DJ on Twitch, that's all they have, DJs, and they're playing music.
You just can't talk about the big lie on Twitch because they'll kick you off faster and you can
will they?
Smile.
But they allow
they're so anti-conservative on Twitch. It's unbelievable. But like you said, they do allow, because when I do my broadcast with Joseph and anything that involves current events and stuff like that, I use my Twitch channel for that because it's not going to get dumped more than likely.
All right.
So yes, you're correct. But Twitch started out and still is kind of a lot of gamers and a lot of people that would be TikTokers. I mean, every time I go to my Twitch channel, there's all kinds of crazy ass content, pardon my French, like these girls in bikinis sitting in pools talking sexy to their viewers, and they have thousands of watchers.
Oh, I bet.
And they have these little things that look like microphones, like it's on a stand, and it's looked like it has two ears, and they're like with their tongue licking the microphone, so it sounds like it's coming out of your speaker, like they're licking your ear.
Oh wow!
And that's all they do for an hour, literally. Wow. And thousands of people watch them do that for an hour.
Yeah, if you wanted to do, like, it would be easy if I just didn't care and I want views and things. I would do tricks and things like that, but that's not what I'm called to do. But you know what? Speaking of that, I am almost about to faint. I haven't eaten one stitch of food today. I thought I was going to eat after my live stream, but I haven't eaten, and I'm feeling weak, actually. Sorry, you guys. I should have eaten. I don't know. I get in these things. It's almost like I get so driven that I can't eat. I'm blacking out or something, right? So before I really do black out, I just want to tell you I'm starting to feel a little bit like woo. Sorry.
You could go eat. We can end it here if you want, or after a couple memes or whatever.
Lady Knievel's teasing me. You just ate a whole pizza. You know what? I don't like when I get to this point where I'm this hungry, because I'm almost getting to the hangry point where I
get the same way.
I could go eat, like just eat real fast, and I eat slow normally. Okay, I got to take off, you guys, to eat. I have to finally do something. Like I wish I didn't have to eat food sometimes. I wish I could just have a little magic like Jetsons food, right? A little.
Yeah, like a little like what was that? Tang. You have some tang,
Some
and
tang,
some
something real quick, right? And but no, I'm starting to feel cuckoo. More
liquefied
so.
beef stroganoff in like a
Oh,
little silver pouch or whatever.
Don't say that sounds so good. And then if I looked at a magazine like a Food Channel or food, I would go crazy right now. Okay, you guys.
All right, let's let Jen eat. And so if you don't get a chance, go to Jennifer's channel and it'll be in the description. We'll get Jennifer set up with comments on Telegram, and then
I'm gonna take all this in. Thank you, John, and everybody, and tell your wife I said hi, John.
We'll do. Surprised we didn't see the cat tonight.
I know you can never figure her out. She's a cat. It's like,
she's a cat.
She's a true cat in every sense.
All right, everybody. Love you guys. Thank you for the support, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Until next week, I'm sure I'll see some of your videos between now and then, and we'll get you going on your other stuff. You'll be good. You'll be fine. You'll be all right.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate it.
all right, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a wonderful evening.